Church of the Raleigh.
Join us in our first congregational song, Take Up Your Spade.
The sun is up, a new day is before you. The sun is up, wake up your sleepy soul. The sun is up, hold on to what is yours. Take up your spade and break ground. Shake off your shoes, leave yesterday behind you. Shake off your shoes, forget not where you've been. Shake off your shoes, forgive and be forgiven. Take up your spade and break ground. Give thanks for all that you've been given. Give thanks for who you can become. Give thanks for each moment and every crumb. Take up your spade and break ground. One more time. Take up your spade and break ground. And take up your spade and break ground.
Wonderful. You may be seated.
Thank you.
So, it was a gathering of all the great religious minds of the world. I mean, there was such prayer power in this room, it was unbelievable. And suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared and turned to the holiest man and said, "You are a really good person. Therefore, I shall grant to you one of three blessings: wisdom, beauty, or $1 billion. Wow. So the holy man gently closes his eyes in prayer, and all the other spiritual leaders join with him, bowing their heads. And suddenly this smile comes over his face, and he looks up and he says, "Wisdom." Boosh! Crack of lightning, thunder, radiant glow all about him. And everybody kind of steps back and goes, "Wow." And then a holy woman leans forward and said, "You have great wisdom. Say something." He said, "I should have taken the money." Well, so wise decisions and good judgment are all about discerning what is right and perfect and true for us. Now, fortunately, Unity teaches us that it is really pretty simple. All we have to do is know what we want and know what we don't want. We don't have to worry about the how. We don't have to wonder about the when. We don't need to present God with a 27-point checklist of all the ways universal mind can fulfill our needs. No, really, all we have to do is just stop, take a breath, and just ask. And then believe that we will receive it. Now, when we go to God in prayer for guidance, that answer can come in many ways. It can come in a book, or it can come from a friend, or in a song, or in a meditation. It can come however. And sometimes we may wonder, well, how will I know if this is the voice of God? How will I know if this is God's will for me? Well, if the message is good and kind, noble and loving, peaceful and prospering, happy and healthy, it's God. But if the message is all about fear and lack, anger and sadness, that is negative prayer, something we call worry. Unity minister and author Eric Butterworth said something that gave me great comfort and also gives me great hope. He wrote that there are no wrong turns and no bad decisions. He said that all roads ultimately lead us to our highest and best good, which means that we can relax and know that we are always safe and always protected no matter what we choose. And so today and every day, we decide to listen to that still small voice within us that always tells us that we can do all things through Christ within that strengthens us. And if we do that, divine order will be established and nothing will have power over us except the power that we give it. So today we light our Christ candle for Psalm 32:8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. And we affirm, I have no fear, and I trust that I am completely supported, guided, and directed to achieve my highest good. So good morning.
Good morning.
I greet you in the name of Jesus Christ and in the warm and loving spirit of Unity Church of Raleigh. In unity, we welcome all people and honor the God of your understanding. We bless all churches and spiritual groups throughout the world because we know we are all sons and daughters of the same loving Creator. So we welcome everybody. We'd also like to welcome everyone who is watching us via live stream today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your platform leader, Melanie, and our musicians today are Greg and Susan, Alan, and Peggy. Our speaker today is Rev Beverly Bockover, so thanks for being with us. Now let's stand and say together our statement of faith, which you can find on the inside front cover of your bulletin. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life and affairs, God the good. With that, let's walk around the room and rightly judge each other with a great big good morning.
All right, it's time for our second congregational. Join us and weave.
Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our own melodies, each one tuning to a different key. But we're all playing in harmony with one great symphony. Weave us together, weave us together, unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. A moment ago, still we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets the Christ in me in one great family. Weave us together, weave us together to unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together in love.
Oh, a Unity classic. Thank you, music team. That was wonderful. So we always begin our announcements with gratitude. I have two things today. First, this weekend is the second anniversary of being in our new church home. So applause, please, for the home that Divine Mind and all of us built. It's beautiful and we love it. So awesome. I love having our own space. And the second thing I'm grateful for is it's birthday Sunday, and we are celebrating all the people in March. So Malcolm, and who else has a birthday in March? Oh, Pam, of course. Yay. Ooh, you guys ready? Will you share the cake? Let's sing happy birthday to We keep doing that thing where we sing that song to our own tunes. So we gotta figure this out. It's scaring me. But happy birthday, you March people. We're so glad you're on the planet. We wish you all the gifts of spirit. There is a beautiful cake. In the back, it's coming out during hospitality, so we look forward to getting together with you and celebrating you. Today's flowers are unsponsored. When they are unsponsored, we love to give them to a volunteer. So today, I would like to present them to Kathleen Weathers. Kathleen Weathers, who jumped. There she is, wave. Kathleen always supports our special events. You know, she always supports our Hearts in Unity. She donates things. She helps clean up. Kathleen is one of those quiet people who works behind the scenes doing what needs to be done. And Kathleen, these flowers from local farmers and my neighbor's backyard, I just ran over there at 7 o'clock yesterday morning and just picked his flowers. He doesn't mind. These beautiful flowers that smell like spring are for you to enjoy as a symbol of our love for you. So thank you. We love you very much. And if you would like to sponsor flowers, there's a sheet out front in the check-in desk. You can make a contribution, and that will be your Sunday, and we'll put it in the bulletin for you. So now why don't we invite all the kids to go have a great day in Sunday school. Okay, great. I'm looking around. I don't believe we have any guests with us today, so it's just home folks, so that's fine. We do have a couple of prayer requests today for healing. First, Mary Jane Landry, who is on our hospitality team and also on our youth ed team. Her husband, Al, has gone into the hospital. This happened last night. And also, Carolyn Richardson. Carolyn, if you could wave. Carolyn's here. Her son, Mike, is back in the hospital, too. So what we want to do is just gently close our eyes and let's just wrap these people we love, because we love Mary Jane and we love Carolyn and Jack, and by extension we love Mike and Al. We just wrap them in all our love. And we know that Mike and Al are the radiant reflection of the all perfection of God, expressing his wholeness and restoration. And God in these gentlemen blesses and expresses, just blesses and expresses as a healing of all things. Strength and courage and just a sense of optimism and hope. And God in their families, and Mary Jane and Carolyn and Jack and their family. Blesses them with hope and faith, strength and courage, understanding, ease and grace, and just so much love. And we just wrap them in all of our love too, and we say, so it is, amen. Great. So, after the service, we have a oneness blessing with Diane in the prayer chapel at noon. Do join us for this event. The fundraising team is meeting after the service in adult ed around 12:15. We will be talking about Hearts in Unity, and then we'll be planning our homecoming event, maybe talking a little bit about that. First Sunday sticker survey is back with the lovely Greg demonstrating. Up there he is. This month, it's the 10% challenge matching Bev's talk series. 10% challenge, what would you like to change at UCR? So we've listed some things that are on the project list, and when you come in, you know we have that wonderful bulletin board that changes every month. We have photos of projects that we're tackling in 2019. So the survey has things like the playground, or the sound video system, or this platform, or the pipes on the walls. Somebody added, you're doing a great job, Vanna, Greg. He's doing a great job. Somebody added canopy over the back door. So go up there, write whatever you want to see changed and improved, or put your sticker by the project you're most jazzed by. And know that your input helps us grow and evolve. So we thank you and appreciate you for that. And I will be walking around after the service and reminding you to do it. So thank you. So it's Bow Wow Meow month this month for the Spiritual Social Action Team. Lynn's in the back. Lynn, wave. Lynn is in charge of this. This is the month, check your bulletin, where we bring in items and food for our furry friends. So thank you for supporting our animals this month with Bow Wow Meow. Now we're doing some new things. I'm really excited, and it seems like Bev, March is the month for doing all this. Next Sunday is our first Unity Cafe. We are going to be doing this on second Sundays of the month, and Unity Cafe is a chance to sit down at the table with Rev Bev, and while we're noshing on yummy hospitality foods, ask her anything about Unity. And anything. She knows. Wisdom. Should have taken the money. No, she'll make it up, she says. But sit down and just have a conversation with Bev about unity, how we differ from other denominations, how we are much alike, on what we believe. It's going to be fun every second Sunday. It's not long, just a little short session where we can just chat about unity, and I love it. Next week, daylight savings time. Now set your clock. I know, that hour of sleep, I hate losing that. So we set our clocks forward Saturday night. Nobody gets to show up at the wrong time next week, okay? Team Potluck, March 21st. That's, I think it's a Thursday night. We are meeting here. Our theme this year is Courage to Heal in Action. At the last session, we had a huge turnout. 30-some people came. We came up with a list of all these things we'd like to do at UCR. Sky's the limit. We came up with this big list. Now, on March 21st, we are going to pick the top 3, and then we're going to put action steps to them. And then we're going to figure out how to make it happen. So this is the action part that comes, of course, after we get guidance through prayer and after we brainstorm. So join us, bring a dish to share, and we'll be here for that event. Also, a new thing that we are adding is the quarterly updates, where once a quarter you will hear what's going on in church, just the state of the church. And so that's going to happen on Sunday, March 24th after the service, and we'll do that each quarter. You will notice that we've kind of changed things around in the hospitality area. We've put one more table over here, and we've sort of added some room here so that folks can get through the aisles, and we've moved all the hospitality tables back. I would like to invite everyone to line up for hospitality along that wall instead of through the tables, because when you line up through the tables, you can't sit down. But if we line up by this wall and go that way, then we can all just spill out and sit down at the table. So admire and let me know, because this is one of the changes y'all wanted to see. Let me or another staff person know if this is working for you or if something different should happen. And last, our Loose Change for Change is for Alliance Medical Ministry, which helps people in Wake County pay their medical bills, which is a beautiful service. I love how we love everyone in our community. And I look forward to everybody's help taking down chairs after the service. As usual, y'all are heroes. So now, why don't we prepare for the peace and refreshment of meditation with Rev Bev by singing the song In the Silence.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there, peace is there, truth is there, God is there.
And so for a time we enter into that silent place where we feel the presence, the power, the peace, the love, the glory of God. We know there is no place we can ever be that God is not. We know that we live, move, and have our being in the pure opulence of God every moment of every day. And so we take a few deep breaths and we rest in that thought. There is no place we can ever be that God is not. I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. And in that knowing and in that remembering, we enter into that secret place within us. Jesus taught us, he said, when you pray, go into that secret place, close the door on all the outer things. And so we close our human eyes that see from our attitudes, our opinions, our beliefs, and our perceptions, so that we might open our spiritual eyes and see from a place of truth and love. And we close our human ears that hear from our attitudes, our opinions, our beliefs, and our perceptions, so that we might open our spiritual ears and hear from a place of wisdom and understanding. And we close our human mouths that speak words from our attitudes, our opinions, our beliefs, and our perceptions, so that we might open our spiritual mouths and speak words that uplift and heal. And as we do this, we are doing as Jesus taught us, and we close the door on all the outer things. And we come into this place of oneness. With the presence, with the Christ of our own being, with the light and life. With the peace that God is. And just feel that. Every breath you take takes you deeper into your heart, takes you deeper into your God. Takes you deeper into your awareness of your oneness of all that is. And we feel our hearts open. And we let flow compassion and love. And as our focus, our minds are on this presence of God, we feel that light quicken within us. The light of love and peace, of wholeness and harmony, of opulence and joy. The light of all the good that God is. That is us awakening. And just feel that light quicken within you, moving beyond the boundaries of your bodies and into this place And as we feel that light flow, it becomes one light. It's not your light and my light anymore. It is light. It is love and wisdom. And we begin to feel this divine embrace of spirit. And just feel that embrace. Blessing all of our friends and family that are with us today. Blessing all of our friends and family that aren't with us today. And blessing all of our friends and family who haven't found us yet but will. Light, love, wholeness, peace, oneness, opulence, joy. And we rest with this awareness of God's presence. We rest in the light, in the silence, in the silence. The divine embrace of spirit. If there's someone that you would like to bring into this light of peace and love and wholeness, opulence and joy, just feel free to speak their names now, and you can either think them or say them out loud. Linda, Kristen, Matt, Matthew, Brandon, Mike. And as we speak these names, both silently and aloud, we look beyond the outer circumstance. We look beyond the humanness, and we see the point of God expressing. We see light. We see the Christ being within them, whatever it is that they need in this moment for healing, for wholeness, for love, for joy, for opulence. And we see their light become one with ours. Moving beyond the boundaries of this building, out into this community, this country, and around this earth. So many things going on this planet today. So many things that we don't always understand. And yet we know within the midst of it, God is. And our focus is on God is. God is unfolding us. God is living us. God is showing us what to do and how to do it. God is directing our every step. God is providing for our every need. God is. God is. And then we let it go, knowing that infinite intelligence knows what to do. Omniscient wisdom knows how to do it, and omnipotent love does it very simply, very gently, and very easily. Father, Mother God, we are so grateful for this opportunity to be together, to share together, to celebrate our oneness of spirit together, to feel your presence and your power, to know the truth that sets us free. Now just take a few deep breaths, and as you do, become aware of your bodies and each other in this place. And when you're ready, just slowly open your eyes, knowing that this is a sacred moment and this is holy ground. And so it is. Amen and amen.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Good morning. Far away from it all, you and me, with no one else around. A brand new start is all we need. It's all we need to mend these hearts back to the beginning. Be still, let it go. Before we lost hope, when we still touched and love wasn't so hard. Be still, I already know. Foolish one with the smile, you don't have to be brave. Every time we fall down, if we're falling from grace, I'd gladly climb your walls if you'll meet me halfway. Stove, slow it down. Why do we run? We're missing so much. Just be still with me for a while. Be still. We should have known. Foolish one with the smile, you don't have to be brave. I'd gladly climb your walls if you meet me halfway. Every time we fall down, but we're falling from grace. Here's my hand and my heart, it's yours to take. Be Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Pretty song. Pretty song. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Thank you. Feel the Holy Spirit move upon me with that good morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to our first day of March. Again, we are on our weather roller coaster. I like to point that out because it's been such an interesting year with the ups and downs of weather and things going on all over the country. And just part of, when you think about all the transitions and the movement of weather, and you think about all the transitions and the movement of communities and people, and being tense and agitated, and you see it reflected out in the weather. And sometimes I wonder, is it the weather that is what's changing and affecting us, or are we the ones that are going through all this chaotic kind of experience and affecting the weather? Either way it goes, it all works together. There's a relationship there that we can begin to learn from and grow from as we go through these experiences of all the changes that are happening right now. So last week we talked a little bit about forgiveness, the law of detachment, and forgiveness and letting go. And it's part of our 10% challenge, because within that 10% challenge, if we can let go of 10%, so you had 100 things that were really gnawing at you, that you've been holding on to since you were 5 years old. And you're holding on. If you could let go of one of those 100 things, what would that do for your life? And that's what this 10% challenge is. Every week we introduce something. We go, okay, if you could do 10% of that, or you could let go of 10% of that, how would it affect your life? How would you be different in your world? How would your world change? And it's something for us to take a look at and see how things get altered as we do make these changes. And in talking about letting go and forgiveness, one of the things we said about forgiveness, back up for a second, with letting go, you know, when you look at the Bible, and there's so many stories about letting go, and the Old Testament is really good about it, because the Old Testament is, for us, part of our more human state of consciousness. It's where we begin to become aware that there's a presence that we call God, and then the New Testament is when it becomes more personal. And so we see, even though it looks very violent and very negative, we actually do see how when we get out of harmony with law, how things change in the Old Testament. And so we have stories of letting go. We have like Abraham and Isaac. Abraham was told to take his son up to a mountain and sacrifice him. What a thing to ask a father to do with his son. But Abraham was willing to do it because he trusted his relationship with God. And so he goes up to the mountain with his son, and just as he's about to sacrifice him, God shows him a lamb. And that's the whole idea of the scapegoat. You know, it's one of those things that we don't realize where some of these phrases we use comes from. But now the scapegoat, he was given the lamb, so the son was saved. Now, the thing was that because he was willing to let go, because he was willing to say, okay, I will let go of this if that's what I'm being asked to do, his life was blessed 100 times. His life had a more greater experience. But if he hadn't been willing to let go, he wouldn't have had that experience. Now, everybody make a fist for a second. Okay? Just make a fist. Now, if you walked around your world with that fist, with your fists like that, how easy would it be to drive a car? How easy would it be to accept your good when it's being offered to you? How easy would it be to change your clothes, brush your teeth, do all those kinds of things? Because when we're holding on that tight, we have no room to accept something greater. So it's all about being willing to let go and become open and receptive to something far greater than we're experiencing right now. And even though it may seem like it's the worst thing in the world to let go of, if we let go of it, it turns out to be a greater thing. It's kind of that paradox of the universe. And forgiveness for us is about letting go of our need to have a different past. Okay, forgiveness is about letting go of our need to have a different past. How many of us hold on to things and resentments because of the way they treated us then? Might have been 30 years ago, but we're still holding on to it because we want it to be different, and it's not going to be different. What we want to do is let go of the need for it to be different so that we can move forward, because our lack of forgiveness is just hurting us and no one else. It's keeping us from having the life that we truly want to live and experience. And so during the week, our challenge was to see, what things are we holding on to? What things can we let go of? Can we let go of 10% of those things we're holding on to so that we clear up 10% of our life so we're more receptive to something new in our experience? And today, we're going to talk a little bit about one of our 12 powers, because it's 12 Power Sunday. First Sunday of every month is 12 Power Sunday, and we're going to talk about that. What are you doing over there? 12 Power Sunday. Oh, he's being powerful. He's going, I thought he was coming over to hit me, but it's that power being expressed. 12 Power Sunday. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, okay? I am going to warn you ahead of time. It's one of those jokes. There was this blonde lady. Who was in Target, and she saw a thermos sitting up on a shelf, and one of the people who worked in Target was walking by, and she asked that person what that object was that was sitting on that shelf. And the guy said to her, he said, well, that's a thermos. Have you not ever seen one or used one? And she said, no, what does it do? And he said, well, it keeps things cold and it keeps things hot. So the next day she was at work, and she bought the thermos, and she had her thermos sitting on the table, and her boss walked by, and he says, wow, I've never seen you with a thermos. What you got in it? And she said, well, I've got popsicles and coffee. Just saying. Go with it wherever you will. Cherry's looking at me like, what? Okay, let's move on. Today's 12 Power Sunday, and so what we're talking about here with 12 Power Sundays is this toolbox that we have that have these powers that Mr. Fillmore suggested would be their keys to how to live our lives. Now, in the Old Testament, the 12 powers were represented by the 12 tribes of Israel. In the New Testament, they're represented by the 12 disciples. And in the book of Revelation, they're represented by the 12 trees that are planted by the river of truth that flow from the throne of God. And in each one of those, we can see a progression. Okay, we can see an evolvement. We can see a shift in consciousness and an upliftment. And so we've been talking about these because each one of us has within us these 12 attributes, or these 12 tools, that as we use them and combine them with other things, we can begin to uplift our lives. And as we uplift our lives, we uplift not only our lives, but we lift everyone in our world. And so we use these tools, we combine them. We talked about Peter, and we talked about, he represented faith for us, and we talked about strength. We know that we need faith and we need strength, and sometimes we need the strength to hold on to our faith when things aren't looking so good. Well, today we're going to talk about James, son of Zebedee. And in Unity, we talk about it this way. The disciple James, son of Zebedee, represents judgment. Judgment is one of two components of wisdom. It is the faculty by which we make right evaluations. It is discriminating and discerning. When judgment is elevated to wisdom, It is a spiritual realization of what is right in the sight of God. And so James represents for us judgment. Now, James is the brother of John, and we will be talking about John next month. But in the process, the two brothers were called together. Now, I want you to think about this for a minute, about the disciples. Because when we think about the disciples, we think about the way that they're portrayed in art. You know, they've got the little halos going on, and they're very pious, and they're dressed perfect, and they're, you know, just really, you know, you look at them and you go, oh, they're special guys. Keep in mind that the disciples were between the ages of 13 and 27 when they were with Jesus. They were just regular people that were taken out of regular jobs, that were doing just regular things, having ordinary lives. Okay? Not any different than you and me. And so when they started out in their journey, they were a little rough around the edges, and John and James weren't any different. In fact, Jesus referred to them as sons of thunder. Okay, now this is John the Beloved. Okay, keep that in mind. But at the beginning of his journey, he wasn't so much the beloved guy. Okay, and one of the reasons why they were referred to as sons of thunder happened because one of the trips that Jesus wanted to make, the shortest distance to get to where he wanted to go was through Samaria. And so he sent messengers into Samaria to set up a place for them to stay during the night. And the folks there said, no, we're not going to allow Jesus to stay here. So the sons of thunder went back to Jesus and they said, would you like us to bring fire down from the heavens and destroy all of them? Okay. Now, how does that tie into judgment? Have you ever had that kind of feeling where something happens or something doesn't quite go your way and you just want to knock off their heads, line them up and shoot them, right? Because it's not going the way we think that it should be. So here we have John and James ready to burn a whole group of folks because they won't give Jesus a room. And of course Jesus says, no, we're not here to seek and destroy. That's not our mission. We're here to heal. So keep that in mind. Okay, no matter what else comes up, keep that in mind that we're here to heal. So they kind of backed off from that a little bit. So that was one of the ways that they exemplified this idea of judgment, because they couldn't really control their tempers. And that wasn't the only instance where that happened. Another place was they had kind of tongue troubles. They didn't always think about what they said before they said it. You ever do that? You ever feel real judgmental about something and before you know it, it's flown out your face and it's hit whoever you're being judgmental about or whoever you want to share that judgment with, so that now everybody goes looking for this thing to be judgmental about? Well, one of the things that happened for John and James was that they were out doing their work, trying to keep in mind that their goal was healing, not destroying. And they're out there, and they see a guy healing people. They went up to him, and they told him, you need to stop because you're not one of the 12, you're not one of the chosen. So you stop that activity right now. And then they went back and told Jesus what they had done. So Jesus kind of calmly said to them, keep in mind, the good news is not copyrighted. Okay? We have no attachment to healing. And if this person is doing a good work, whether they're with us or part of our group or not, they're doing a good work. So don't hurt them. We're here to heal, not destroy. Then another part of what came up for them was they kind of had this pride problem. And I love this because I can just imagine the look on Jesus' face when this happened. This is in Mark chapter 10, verses 35 through 45. Then John and James, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. You talking to me? Now, can you just imagine Jesus' look? Because here are these disciples, and that's what they hit him with. We want you to do whatever we ask you to do. And Jesus has probably got a twinkle in his eye, and he says, what do you want me to do for you? And they wanted to sit on his right hand and his left hand. They wanted those positions of power. And Jesus said, do you really want to take on my cup? Do you really want to go through what I'm about to go through? Oh, sure. Not a problem. We can do that. Okay. We just want you to know that we want to be on the top of the list, and we want to be on your right hand and your left hand, and we want to control everything. Did you ever feel that way? Where you look at maybe your boss or the company you work for, and you say, if I was in charge, this is not the way this would be. I would do something different. And then we pontificate on what we would do different. We've all had those experiences. Those are the ways that John and James demonstrated their top spin on judgment. But how does that apply to us? Okay, we're not off healing and offering to bring down fire on people, though sometimes we may want to. But how does that apply to us? Mr. Fillmore, in his book, 12 Powers of Man, said this: when we awaken to the reality of our being, the light begins to break upon us from within, and we know the truth. This is the quickening of our James or judgment faculty. When this quickening occurs, we find ourselves discriminating between the good and the evil. We no longer accept the race standards or the teachings of the worldly wise, but we judge righteous judgment. We know with an inner intuition, and we judge men and events from a new viewpoint. Can we get to that place where we don't look at the outer things? Most of our judgment comes when we sit and we evaluate the outer things. When we're evaluating the outer things, that's an activity of the senses. Okay? That's the data processing. That's our thinking. That's the data we've collected. That's our responding based on other activities in our lives and in our world. And what we want to do is move beyond the data collector and take the information that's being given and bring it within and look beyond those walls of limitation that the data gives us. Okay? We've talked about John the Baptist and needing to look beyond the walls of his prison to see what was on the other side, all the things that were good and wonderful that were happening in his world. And so when we're looking at our world, we want to begin to see it with different eyes. We want to begin to not see right, wrong, good, bad, let me jump on this bandwagon or that bandwagon, but we want to see something greater, something better, something more fulfilling. You know, sometimes we get caught in those experiences. I know that when I was driving, which has been a little while now, I was behind a car and it had a bumper sticker and it said, "Honk if you love Jesus." Well, I loved Jesus that day. I was all about Jesus. So I decided I'd honk. So I started honking because I was just filled with spirit and I just loved Jesus, and I'm honking and I'm honking. And the guy gave me some gestures that assured me that God was not his co-pilot on that particular day. And then when he was done yelling at me out his window, he drove off and I drove off, and I thought, that didn't work so well. Okay. Because we're coming at it from two places. I'm reading something about and I'm filled with Jesus, and he's thinking I'm honking at him because I'm aggravated or mad, or he's aggravated and mad and just makes the assumption that I must also be aggravated and mad. Part of our judgment. We don't always stop to see what might really be going on. Just like James, we make those snap decisions and we jump right in and we make a comment and we shut it off. Or have you ever been driving down the street and you stop at, you're on a little hill and you stop at the light and you kind of look next to you and you see yourself moving forward, but in fact, it's the car next to you rolling backward? Okay. And so you're slamming on the brake and slamming and slamming and slamming until, you can't do it anymore. We make a judgment based on data, based on our senses, based on those things that don't always lead us in the right direction. And so this idea of judgment becomes very important when we begin to see what Jesus was talking. He said, when you judge by righteous judgment. Go within, find your answer inside, and from that place, we move forward. I read a story about a young man who, read it to you, it's short. It says, while I was in college, I worked the graveyard shift at the local Holiday Inn in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, as a night auditor. Now, this particular Holiday Inn was not your typical run-of-the-mill Holiday Inn because we didn't have your typical run-of-the-mill guests. You see, on a regular basis, famous recording stars stayed in our hotel. We even had a special suite of rooms set aside for these musical celebrities. It had king-size beds, walls lined with signed photographs of all the stars who had stayed, and a huge bathroom equipped with a jacuzzi, which was a much bigger deal back in the early 70s than today. All these singers stayed with us because that northwestern region of Alabama was, and I guess still is, well known for its recording studios, which put out the famous Muscle Shoals sound. And here he was, this young man, he was all excited. He was going to meet all these big celebrities, all these bigger-than-life people. Aren't that amazing? Will I do it right? Am I dressed right? Do I look okay? When these people would come in. And he said, during my 4 years there, I met people like James Taylor, Paul Simon, Art Garfunkel, Cat Stevens, the Carpenters, the Doobie Brothers. Members of Chicago also stayed there even though I wasn't on duty when they checked in. When I first started working at this unique motel and heard of the caliber of people who regularly resided there, I was very excited. I could hardly wait to meet these stars, these musical legends. But after I did actually meet a few of them, it quickly ceased to be such a big deal for me because when I met all these celebrities, I found them to be pretty much normal people. Their pants may have been a little more expensive than mine, but they still put them on one leg at a time. There was very little about them that was special at all. I mean, they really gave good tips for room service. When they left, they took the towels, just like so many other guests. They even complained about their room. So over the years, checking them in became just like checking anyone else in, and I guess I didn't expect that because there's this widespread belief that famous people are extraordinary people, super people, bigger and somehow better than the rest of us. But that's just not true. All people, even world-renowned people, are still just people. They have problems and fears and even flaws just like we do. But where did the judgment come in? Where did the judgment come in? It came in here. It came in my expectation. It came in what I believed it should be. It came in the package that I wrapped it in. Nothing that anybody else told me. And when we look at it, our judgments about ourselves become our biggest obstacle. When we think about ourselves and we compare ourselves to others, we use others as our yardstick to see how we're doing and how we're feeling and how we're comparing to the rest of the world. So we use other people as our yardstick, and we have the beautiful models on TV, and we look at those models and we criticize them because they're too skinny, but actually we're criticizing ourselves for not being as thin as we would like to be. And we use that as our yardstick, our judgment. I mentioned to Cherry the other day, I said, if we are blaming them, we are judging ourselves. Okay. And so our fears come up in our judgments, and our angers and our worries and our old hurts come up in our judgments every single day. And so this week, I would suggest that if you find yourself judging somebody or something or some TV show or some celebrity or because we've got a plethora of things to judge these days, if you find yourself doing that, stop and think about what it is you're really judging. Is there something about you that person is tweaking? Is there some vulnerable place within you that needs healing? And if there is, take the time, take that 10% time to clear that, to forgive yourself for thinking that way about you, for thinking that you are less than divine. Take the time to reevaluate and judge with righteous judgment. I am a divine child of God. I am filled with love and peace and wholeness and joy every moment of every day. And when we come into that place and we live from that place, not only do we bless ourselves, but we bless everyone and everything in our world. God bless you. Amen.
Good morning. Real quick announcement. Music team, choir, singers, rehearsal start Tuesday, 7 o'clock. So hope to see you there. We got a fun one for you to work on. In a day like this, you know, it's good to just sit back and watch the wheels. 2, 3, 4. People say I'm crazy, doing what I'm doing. Well, they give me all kinds of warnings to save me from ruin. When I say that I'm okay, well, they look at me kind of strange. So if you're not happy, well, I no longer play the game. People say I'm lazy, dreaming my life away. Well, they give me all kinds of advice designed to enlighten me. When I tell them that I'm doing fine, on the wall. Don't you miss the big time, boy? You're no longer on the ball. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. And oh, I love to watch them roll. No longer riding on the merry-go-round. I just had to let it go. People asking questions, lost in confusion. Well, I tell them there's no problem, only solutions. Well, they shake their heads and they look at me as if I've lost my mind. I tell them there's no hurry, I'm just sitting here doing time. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. You know I love
Sounds like a good plan. Let's prepare now for our offering by singing I See Abundance Everywhere.
I see abundance everywhere, God's rich supply beyond compare. 'Tis ours to use and to enjoy, His gifts to us without alloy. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my home has come to me. God sends His children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase. And we are grateful, voices raise to Thee, O God, in hymns of praise.
And in just a moment, our ushers will be receiving our offering. But before they do, as always, I like to give thanks. I give thanks for all of you being here with me today. I give thanks for the kindness that there is in the world. I want to share this really quickly because it was such a touching story, and it reminded me that this is the way I would like us to always be. There was a Vietnam veteran who had passed away, and he had no family. And he was being buried in a military cemetery, and there was nobody to contact or touch about this, you know. And so the cemetery put it on their Facebook, and it's going to make me cry like it did the first time I saw it. Put it on Facebook and on their website about this man who was being buried, who was a Vietnam veteran. And the roads were so full of people that came to just be a part of that celebration, just because, you know, just to honor this man. And I give thanks that, you know, that we are that kind of America, that we are that kind of kindness. I give thanks that we are those kinds of people that will reach out into this world, whether we know them or not, you know, with all our stuff that we do every month, with whether we know people or not, you know, we reach out and we give. And it was such a touching story because there were thousands of people there to celebrate this man's memorial service. They didn't even know who he was, but they cared. So that's the kind of America I see us as being, and that's the kind of things I'm grateful for, and I'm grateful for them in this ministry every moment of every day. And so we take our offerings in our hands and we bless them as gifts of divine love. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, and all that I give and receive. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, and all that I give and receive. And so it is. Amen.
Good morning. This is a song by Van Morrison. Sent to Coventry feels like hell. This ain't no place to get well. Sent to Coventry once again. Break out of this empty shell. Start all over somewhere else. Somewhere much stronger than this. Somewhere I can be myself. Instead of sitting on the shelf. Got to go where the love is. 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 There's just this wall of hate, of some kind of twisted fate. 'Cause I can't be a part, something that doesn't have no heart. Save myself, save the other. Right now, run for cover. Try to start another dream. Stop this empty scheme. Got to go where the love is. 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 just this wall of hate, of some kind of twisted fate. 'Cause I can't be a part, something that don't have no heart. Save myself, save the other, right now, run for cover. Try to start another dream, try to stop this empty scheme. Got to go where the love is, 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 go where the love is, where the love is. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Good song. Father, Mother God, we are grateful for these gifts that entered this ministry, blessing and prospering this place. We bless the gift and the giver, knowing that they are one and the same and all one with you. We thank you, Father, Mother God, and so it is. Amen and amen. And now let's stand and welcome our kids back by singing We Are Walking in the Light. Our loaves and fish kids are back. Did you all have a great day? Yeah? Did something fun? Strength? Okay. We talked about judgment. Strength and judgment, they go together. Let's bless our kids. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Together, please. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. And we love, bless, and appreciate all of you also. Just a reminder, Oneness Blessing around 12 o'clock in the prayer chapel. We've got that going on. We will be having music rehearsal on Tuesday for the choir for the fifth Sunday concert. New class starts in April. So that covers it. The rest of the stuff you can find online or in our bulletin. And so as we leave here today, let's remember that the light of God surrounds us.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God protects us.
The power of God protects us.
The presence of God watches over us.
The presence of God watches over us.
And wherever we are, God is.
Wherever we are, God is.
And all is well.
And all is well.
Now let's join hands and sing, Yes, There Is Peace.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, united are we. Yes, we walk
Father God, how grateful we are to know that as we let go of our judgments that are based on outer things, the things of the world, the things of our senses, as we let go of our judgments based on that and we move within, we judge with righteous judgment and we transform this world. We thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is. Namaste.
Got to go where the love is.